live on DBC News and GTV. Time for news. Hello, good evening. I'm Siopo Papuche.
My name is Shirley Annan.
In the headlines, one person shot dead in police resident clash in Nkwanza as chiefs demand the whereabouts of a 27-year-old man.
Upper East Police on manhunt for 3 suspects who escaped from police custody.
Government denies selling Achimota forest, explaining that portions of the forest will be used for redevelopment purposes.
Peasant farmers envisage prices of food commodities to quadruple in 2023.
And 4 people killed in explosion near a primary school in the northern Nigerian city of Kano.
To help us with the sign language interpretation is Jonathan Intim Dako. Reports from Nkwanza in the Bono East region are that one person has been shot dead, allegedly by the police.
This was during an exchange between the police and some residents who were attempting to take over the police station.
We'll bring you that story later. The police is on a manhunt for 3 suspects in police custody in the Talensi district of the Upper East region who escaped from cells.
The suspects escaped through an opening they created in the cell's washroom, which leads out of the prison walls.
According to officers on duty, on the night the incident happened, suspects were heard singing praises and worship songs on top of their voices, but after a while, the voices could not be heard. On a routine inspection, it was discovered that the 4 suspects had escaped. According to the regional police, PRO ASP David Fiankwotri, efforts are underway to arrest them. He called on surrounding communities to report suspicious characters.
So far, personnel have been thrown out to ensure their recapture. But as I speak to you now, we have not arrested them yet. We are urging the public to support them, especially residents of Talensi districts and Bogatanga within surrounding areas. Because when such things happen, they normally go into the community to seek support or shelter so that they can move ahead, and they even beg for money to enable them extend their journey. So anyone who see suspicious characters in and around the communities, please, they should share that information with the police so that we can recapture these people.
Reports say the prisoners took advantage of the weakness of the cell walls after the recent rains. Their offences range from stealing to defilement.
A police officer stationed at Wa in the Upper West region, General Constable Nelson Tete, and a motorbike mechanic Baba Zakari have been arraigned for the alleged involvement in the attempted attack on a bullion van on February 22, 2022 at North Kaneshi in Accra. The 2 are alleged to have supplied the motorbikes used in the robbery. This brings to 5 the number of policemen implicated in the operation.
4 police recruits, namely Constable Yaro Afisu Ibrahim, Constable Albert Ofosu aka Cypher, General Constable Richard Bwedu aka Oso, and Constable Rabiu Jambedu are already in police custody over the matter. In court on Tuesday, May 17, 2022, the previous charge sheet was amended and all 6 accused persons, including 5 police constables, charged before the Circuit Court 10 in Accra. Constable Yaro Afisu Ibrahim and Constable Albert Ofosu aka Cypher have pleaded not guilty to the charge of attempted robbery, while the remaining 4, General Constable Richard Bwedu aka Oso, General Constable Rabiu Jambedu, General Constable Nelson Tete, and Bedu Zakari, have denied the charge of abetment. Lawyers for the accused persons pleaded for bail for them, but the court once again declined to grant bail. The defense lawyers argued that the accused persons are serving officers and would avail themselves for the trial. The prosecutor, DSP Sylvester Asari, said the accused persons were arrested following investigations into the foiled attack on the bullion van. He said efforts are underway to arrest 3 other accomplices currently at large. The presiding judge, Madame Evelyn Asamoah, in her ruling, said given the nature of the offence and severity of punishment when convicted, the accused persons are likely to evade prosecution. All 6 accused persons have been remanded and asked to reappear on June 2, 2022. The court also ordered the prosecution led by DSP Sylvester Asari to file its disclosures and witness statements by May 30, 2022.
The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana has alerted consumers to prepare their minds for higher food prices in 2023. The executive director of the association, Dr. Charles Nyaba, explained that consumers will have to pay more for food next year because of the cost of production, which has quadrupled this year. He was speaking to GBC News during an awards program for sorghum farmers in Kayuru in the Katsina Nankana West district of the Upper East region.
About 100 farmers from the Kayuru community received assorted items as awards for their efforts in the 2021 farming season. The items included knapsack sprayers, smartphones and PFAG branded t-shirts. At the ceremony, the executive director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, PFAG, Dr. Charles Nyaba, said the farmers in Kayuru deserved recognition for supplying food to feed the nation and raw materials to Guinness Ghana. He said the Kayuru community has a vast arable land where investors can channel their resources. He complained about the high costs of farm inputs, saying it would affect food prices in the coming years. He therefore called on government to cushion farmers so that food prices could go down. The paramount chief of the Kayuru traditional area, Oscar Batabi Tiyamo, said dams were very important in the lives of the farmer in the Kayuru area. But now, most of the dams constructed for irrigation purposes could no longer support dry season agriculture because they had dried up. He called on government to ensure that the silted dams were desilted for the youth to engage in dry season farming. The overall best farmer, Mr. Paul Kususani, complained of non-availability of fertilizers during the farming season and called for timely supply of subsidized fertilizers. With the support of PFAG, the farmers are expected to produce about 10,000 tons of sorghum this year for Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited.
The Ministry of Works and Housing is constructing more drains and desilting choked ones to forestall flooding in part of the capital as the rain sets in. On a tour of some flood-prone areas, the Deputy Sector Minister, Mr. Abdullahi Abanga, called for attitudinal change on the part of the public in complement government efforts to curb flooding nationwide.
Drainage, indiscriminate disposal of waste into drains and building on water bodies are factors that cause flooding in most parts of the country, affecting lives and property. With the onset of the rains, the Works and Housing Ministry is working to prevent such incidents. Drains are under construction and choked drains are being desilted. The Deputy Minister for Works and Housing inspected progress of work in flood-prone areas such as Kaneshie First Light and its environs, Abosokai, Weija Old Barrier, Weija Giselle and its environs. Construction of drains at some of these areas are almost complete. Some residents who spoke to GBC News said Wager Giselle is an area noted for flooding, but the problem has reduced with the construction of the drains. The acting director of Hydrological Service Department of the ministry, Mr. Hubert Osewusuansa, was hopeful that the incidence of flooding across the country will soon be reduced to the barest minimum. The Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Abdullahi Abanga, said monies have been allocated for the 21 projects.
Government of Ghana project, the Gari project, and that is also supposed to provide some solution to the flooding situation in Accra. That is a very critical project that we think that with the implementation of that project, it's about $200 million worth of infrastructure, of storm drains and a lot of other facilities that will be constructed in Accra to be able to support whatever that we are doing to minimize the flooding situation. These are very, very expensive projects. And at the end of the day, if we don't change our attitude and they build a drain and we dump waste materials into those same drains, the solution that the government will have been providing, taxpayers' money that we are pumping into these projects, we will not get the needed results.
The head of drainage at the Hydrological Service Department, Mr. Richard Ameko, commended the contractors of the project for working to meet the schedule.
On Monday, when the Roads and Highways Minister toured some facilities belonging to the Ghana Highway Authority in the Greater Accra region, he called for private investment into revamping the Adan Marine Unit. Thus, he says, will be of economic benefit to the community.
The road had inspected the Azor Load facility at Afienya, where he instructed the Highway Authority to relocate the facility as it's creating conveniences to motorists. He also considered on his tour the Afienya-Dowenya Road, including the remaining 4 kilometers from Old Ningo through Anyam and beyond. He described the Ningo-Prampram Road as another important route and directed it to be awarded on contract. Mr. Mwakwata said national properties must be properly taken care of.
Whatever facility is in any part of this country belongs to the entire nation, the good people of this country, but Adan is hosting it. The chiefs and the people of this area, the stakeholders, entrepreneurs from this area who can support the way to open it up.
He ordered private properties on the Highways Authority's lands at Adan 4 to be demolished by the Adan East Assembly within 2 weeks.
Put all this thing down, and I will come here again. If I come again and it's not done, it will be organized in my presence. If anybody is afraid, I'm not afraid of any Ghanaian. Once we are doing the right thing.
The Adan Marine Unit was established in 1970 with 20 ferries, but only one is working currently on one engine. Residents were generally affected by the construction of the Akosombo Dam in the 1960s, thus the provision of an affordable transport system by government to cushion them in their economic activities. Since 2012, it cost a passenger on the ferry 9 cedis from Adan 4 to Akuse.
Company of Ghana continues to justify the need for its distribution service charge to be increased by 148%. The company says financing plans to improve its operations come with a cost. Speaking to GTV Breakfast, the Director of Communications at ECG, Mr. William Watson, said the company is exploring all avenues to reduce commercial and technical losses while also improving its debt collection. He explained how the new deductions will work if approved by the PURC.
Is the aggregated sum, is the end at the end of the day. That's the total sum we are talking about. So you are putting the 140% on the total sum, your bill, your final bill. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about our distribution service charge. So there's a generational charge, there's a transmission charge, and there's a distribution charge. You're going to pay 744. That's what you are saying, but that's not what is what we are saying. You are going to take the this is our portion. That is 300
distribution charge.
Assuming that we divide them equally. I just want to simplify it. So equally. Now my 100 Ghana cedi that comes to me, the distribution company. You know I talk about the GENCO, the generation generation charges 100 Ghana cedi, transmission is taking 100 out of your 300. I left the 100
for the distribution. For
me ECG, me Boating. Now my 100 is what I am requesting. I am pleading that
it be turned into
148% increase.
You're still watching News Hour live on GBC News, your news and governance channel. Government is to continue the construction of Get Fund stored projects across the country in a 3-year phase-out program. The over 1,000 projects are expected to be completed. According to the Deputy Public Relations Officer for the Ministry of Education, Mr. Yaopoku Mensah, the ministry just received parliamentary approval for the projects to be completed within 3 years. The projects are 544 basic school level infrastructure, 2 technical and vocational education and training centers, 9 model schools, and 487 infrastructures at the second cycle school level, with the remaining 2 projects at the tertiary education level.
The expectation is that as soon as practicable, contractors will have to move to site where we need to repackage and re-award, then straight away we do it to ensure that by the close of this year, most of them will be completed. If you look at the E-blocks, which have gotten to a level of 70%, that should be and then others follow suit. Some of the projects have already been completed. For example, some of them that we started from the days of President Kufuor. What is left is what we are looking at.
The projects will be financed with proceeds from bonds and the Get Fund's annual budgetary allocations.
This year's World Telecommunication and Information Society Day focused on digital inclusiveness for older persons to promote telecommunications.
The World Telecommunication and Information Society Day is celebrated annually on May 17 to raise awareness about the opportunities and possibilities that the use of the Internet and other information and communication technologies bring to nations and economies. It is also to provide education on ways to bridge the digital divide. As a member of the International Telecommunication Union, ITU, Ghana is committed to working with member states to promote the development of telecommunication networks and access to telecommunication services. In view of this, the National Communications Authority, together with the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, have rolled out projects to improve telecommunication services across the country and also provide seamless services to clients.
There is the need to ensure that the development of a robust framework to support the agenda is done. Since 2017, the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, with support from His Excellency the President and the Vice President Dr. Bawumia, has embarked on an ambitious infrastructure development program for the ICT sectors as part of efforts to support the digitalization of the economy.
The Director General of the National Communications Authority, Mr. Joe Anoche, said funds have been allocated to upgrade network monitoring systems in the country to enable the National Communications Authority to monitor services provided by telcos in the country.
There's a vast potential to develop and advance interventions such as investment in intelligent devices targeting the growing population of the country as well as older persons. This will improve autonomous living, mobility in older persons, and a happy, healthier aging.
The theme for this year's World Telecommunication Society Day is Digital Technologies for Older Persons and Healthy Aging. It emphasizes the importance of using telecommunications and information communication technologies, ICTs, for the elderly to stay healthy, connected and independent on a physical, emotional and financial level.
When rumors made the rounds that the government, through an executive instrument, had issued a statement on the cessation of the Achimota forest as a reserve, especially in an era of climate change, the public was up in arms. But at a media briefing on Tuesday, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Mr. Samuel Jinapor, explained that part of the reserve has been given back to the landowners and only the periphery will be used for possible redevelopment and other purposes.
There have been reports circulating in sections of the public that the Achimota Forest Reserve, as currently constituted, has been sold and is set to be earmarked and redeveloped into residential enclave. The general public is entreated to disregard these reports as they are false, baseless, and non-factual. Indeed, what the propagators of these messages have refused to add is that EI 144 was published together with the Forest Achimota Firewood Plantation Forest Reserve Amendment Instrument 2022, EI 154. So, for the avoidance of doubt, President Akufo-Addo, nor myself or his government intends to sell the Achimota Forest or redevelop the Achimota Forest as currently constituted. On the contrary, we intend to enrich the Achimota Forest, revamp it, and hopefully, in the not too distant future, transform it into the likes of Hyde Park of London and Central Park of New York, where we can enjoy forest, the beauty of nature.
President Akufo-Addo on Tuesday morning signed a book of condolence opened at the residence of the Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, in Accra in memory of their late President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed. President Akufo-Addo described Sheikh bin Zayed as a great leader whose visionary leadership transformed the 7 Emirates. Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed passed away on Friday, 13th May 2022. He was 73.
President Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed of the United Arab Emirates, UAE's passing was announced last Friday, 13 May 2022. He had been ill long-term prior to his passing and had passed official public engagements onto his brother, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed, in recent times. President Akufo-Addo was at the residence of the UAE's ambassador to Ghana to commiserate with them and express the people of Ghana's sympathies to the people of the Emirates on their loss. In an interaction with the Chargé d'Affaires, Mr. Ahmed Jamil Al-Alawi, President Akufo-Addo recounted his relations with the late Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed and described him as a great friend of Ghana. Mr. Ahmed Jamil Al-Alawi expressed his country's gratitude to President Akufo-Addo and the people of Ghana for the good relations that exist. Sheikh Khalifa was the Gulf country's second president, serving since 2004. He is credited with helping to bring the UAE, a small desert sheikhdom of 7 Emirates, to global prominence and leading the country through turbulent times during the 2008 financial crisis.
We'll do some more news when we come back after this break. This is News Hour on GBC News.
You by Quick Credits and QNet with me, Esther Eidu Ohumewu. A memorandum of understanding has been signed between the International Trade Center and the African Continental Free Trade Area to make SMEs drivers of intra-Africa trade. The MOU is to ensure that businesses, especially SMEs, take full advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area as Africa seeks to change the narrative as being an import-driven continent. SMEs provide an estimated 80% of jobs across the continent, representing an important driver for economic growth. Sub-Saharan Africa alone has 44 million micro, small and medium enterprises. Most of these SMEs have been hard hit by COVID-19 pandemic, of which many are yet to bounce back. At the 13th World Trade Promotion Organization Conference in Accra, the Executive Director of the International Trade Center, Madam Pamela Cook-Hamilton, said the conference seeks to discuss strategic ways by which trade promotion organizations across the continent can help businesses survive the impact of climate change, COVID-19, and the Russia-Ukraine war. The Chief Executive of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Dr. Ifwa Sabiasari, said the time is appropriate for trade promoting organizations to nurture SMEs to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
At the pinnacle of COVID-19, it is small businesses that have been the cornerstone of progress and sustainability. The Ghana Export Promotion Authority is committed to supporting small businesses build on their capacities and build a kind of resilience that will enable them compete favorably on the international market.
The Minister for Trade and Industry, Mr. Alan Tremantin, said to change the face of Africa as an import-driven economy can only be done through the promotion of the SME sector.
Governments around the world, particularly in developing countries, must now put trade at the center of their development agenda. Trade must be mainstreamed in national development plans. Programs and projects that enhance trade must be aggressively pursued by TPOs.
The Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Mr. Wamkele Mene, called on trade promotion organizations across Africa to build partnerships with business associations, enhance digital platforms, promote existing and potential exporting companies, and ensure SMEs take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
We can contribute up to $450 billion to Africa's GDP through this trade agreement, and the most immediate beneficiaries of these astounding and positive projections will be women and young entrepreneurs.
An MOU to put small and medium-scale enterprises at the pivot of development post-COVID-19 across the continent was signed between the IFC and the African Continental Free Trade Area. Insurance firm Old Mutual Ghana is commemorating the 177th anniversary of its parent company, the Old Mutual Group, and also 10 years of its operations in Ghana. The event is to recognize the outstanding contribution of its loyal customers and staff in serving Africa's banking and insurance needs.
The Old Mutual Group is a Pan-African banking and insurance service provider. Its robust corporate governance structure has helped the company to survive global storms for 177 years. Old Mutual extended its operations to Ghana in 2013 and offers pensions and insurance services. With 9 branches nationwide, Old Mutual Ghana has become one of the leading insurance firms in the country, thanks to its diverse and inclusive structure.
We've been around in Ghana for more than 10 years, and we have a lot that we can be proud of, a lot that we have done, a lot that we have achieved in Ghana in terms of providing unique solutions to the Ghana market.
Through innovative products and services, Old Mutual is targeting to become Ghana's biggest insurance and pension service provider.
In terms of impact on the economy, we've really grown since we We're currently one of the leading companies when it comes to corporate solutions. In terms of the economy as well, one of our key pivots that we do is financial education. It's a responsible business that we take quite serious, and we've had numerous workshops since we came. I think we've trained over 10,000, and from an online perspective, we've done financial education that reaches about 5 million people.
The company's financial literacy program was adjudged the best marketing campaign last year. Old Mutual Ghana says it will continue to invest in innovative technologies to enhance customer experience.
Let's have the interbank and commodity figures for the day. Business News was brought to you by KONet. Thanks for watching.
Good evening and welcome to the segment. I'm Dominic Hoji. The Chief Executive of the Chamber of Independent Power Producers, IPPs, Dr. Elikplima Fetogbo, is asking the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC, to reject the ECG's proposed 148% tariff adjustment. He said the ECG's desire for full cost recovery will make the already overburdened consumers pay for the company's inefficiencies and wastage. Dr. Fetogbo spoke with GBC News in Accra.
It's not justified, so I won't support an approval of their proposal. I mentioned of the fact that government claims that they have made a savings of about $13.2 billion in renegotiating the capacity charges of IPPs. This was done on their behalf, and the benefit of this should inure to their benefit directly, and this should also help attend to what we're looking for, not asking for additional increases in tariff. They said that average cost of power generation has reduced from 16.2 cents per kilowatt hour to about 10. Very big savings. This must help ECG clean its book. I will say that what they have, the savings government made on their behalf, if it is true, should be enough to meet their requests. It's not justified, so I won't support an approval of their proposal.
The National Petroleum Authority, NPA, says it is not true there is a shortage of fuel in the country. The authority is confident that there is enough of the commodity in Ghana. There were reports last week that some fuel stations, including GOIL, the leading oil marketing company, turned away persons who came to fuel their vehicles due to unavailability of fuel, particularly diesel. The head of economic regulation at the NPA, Mr. Abbas Tasunti, reassures the public that there is sufficient diesel in the country to meet consumer demand and therefore no need to panic.
Our checks, diesel nationally to meet our demand. However, these products are owned by different bulk distribution companies who are the ones who sell to the oil marketing companies. So looking at the global picture where there's a bit of tight market for diesel in particular, not all the BDCs have enough diesel as we speak now to meet the demand of their customers. So typically what happens is that when my vessel as a BDC is due to discharge, I'm able to maybe loan products from another BDC to serve my customers whilst mine is being discharged. And because of the tight nature of the market, some BDCs are not willing to loan products to some other BDCs. And that's why there are a few companies who have not been able to supply enough diesel to some of their retail outlets. However, we have spoken to all of these companies, and we also have vessels scheduled to deliver petroleum products. As we speak, a vessel is being prepared to go and discharge diesel, and we have more vessels scheduled to discharge diesel to the end of the month. About 5 more vessels scheduled to discharge diesel by end of this month. So there should be no cause for panic. These particular issues, we are talking to the various companies to see how we can address them, but it's not a general shortage.
We now bring you some data on national power generation, Ghana's power export figures, and the water level in the Akosombo and Bui dams. Dominic Onoji.
Health segment of the news is brought to you by Lufat from Tobinco. Mortality rates at the Nsom Maximum Security Prison is said to be increasing. This has been attributed to the high incidence of chronic diseases and cancers. The prison authorities say they have had to introduce geriatric care in the prison, which has a growing number of aged inmates. They appealed for their clinic to be stocked with medical consumables and also wants government to build a modern prison hospital to cater solely for the inmates and officers. A report by Cyril Furi.
The Nsawam Maximum Security Prison Clinic has a capacity of 50 beds. It is the first port of call for both inmates and officers. The facility has an annex that serves the dependents of officers and surrounding communities. It has a theatre, pharmacy, an OPD, and a laboratory run by medical professionals in uniform. Chronic diseases are also on the rise in the prison.
Recently, we are having a lot of cancers, especially liver cancer, due to what they take in. Then the anorectal cancer, partly due to the food they eat, some issues of constipation, and other issues of security in terms of trying to smuggle in contraband. So some of them have to put it in their anus.
Patients requiring further treatment are either referred to the Nsawam Government Hospital, the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and the St. Joseph's Hospital, depending on the condition of the patient. Due to logistics and security constraints, patients are unable to access adequate care.
The difference between pardon and amnesty, there are certain conditions medically they have to go home even before amnesty comes. But the system to recommend from our end becomes very difficult.
In extreme cases, some patients are recommended for amnesty or parole. However, in most instances, their pleas are rejected due to procedural lapses. The prison authorities say it's barely halfway into the year, yet there is an increase in spate in mortality.
We used to have a mortality rate of about a whole year, about 26 to 30 inmates dying. And last year, through the effort of our commander, when we instituted the outside hospital, it was 10. That was unprecedented.
However, this year, we are having a tremendous increase in the death, and it is due to some chronic disease.
The burden of overcrowding, heightened by poor water, sanitation and hygiene, are all a source of concern. The pharmacy and laboratory do not have adequate stock of medication and reagents respectively. Sarah Ofori, GBC News in Nsawam.
The health segment was brought to you by Lufat from Tobinco.